Hello, dear listener. It's good to have you here in this space of reflection. Today, we will explore together a territory that probably is part of your daily life: social media and how they interact with our mental health and self-esteem. Before we begin, I invite you to a brief pause. Take a deep breath with me. Just one complete and conscious breath. This helps us create a small space between stimulus and response, something we will explore further ahead. This is not an invitation to demonize social media or technology. Far from it. It's an invitation to develop a more conscious relationship with these powerful tools that have transformed how we connect, work, and express ourselves. The digital mirror: how social media shape our self-perception. Imagine yourself walking through a corridor of mirrors like those in amusement parks. Some mirrors make you look taller, others shorter. Some highlight certain features, others completely distort your image. Social media work in a similar way in our mind. They are mirrors that reflect partial, sometimes distorted, versions of reality. When we endlessly scroll through feeds filled with carefully selected and edited moments, our brain naturally makes comparisons. It's an evolutionary mechanism. We always measure ourselves against others to understand our place in the group. However, in this digital environment, we are comparing our complete behind the scenes, with all imperfections and challenges, with the highlights of countless other lives. This inevitable comparison can trigger what psychologists call negativity bias, our tendency to give more weight to negative experiences than to positive ones. We see someone celebrating a great success, and instead of shared joy, we may feel that we are falling behind. The algorithm, designed to maximize our engagement, frequently amplifies this effect. It learns what captures our attention, often content that provokes strong emotions like envy, insecurity, or indignation, and shows us more of the same. The neuroscience behind dopamine loops. Our brain evolved in an environment very different from the current one. When we receive a notification, a comment, a message, there's a small release of dopamine, the neurotransmitter associated with reward and pleasure. This response evolved to reward us for behaviors that promoted our survival, such as finding food or social connections. The design of social platforms brilliantly leverages this mechanism, creating what experts call variable reward loops, the same principle behind slot machines. We never know exactly when we'll receive the next social reward, so we keep checking, waiting for that small dose of well-being. Over time, this pattern can create a dependent relationship. We need increasingly larger doses of external validation to feel good. Our self-esteem can become dangerously intertwined with digital metrics, likes, followers, comments, that fluctuate beyond our control. Signs of an unbalanced relationship with social media. How do we know if our relationship with social media is negatively affecting our mental health? Some signs to observe with kindness. Do you often feel worse, not better, after using social media? Do you compulsively check notifications, even at inappropriate moments? Do you feel anxiety when you cannot access your accounts? Do you constantly compare yourself to others, usually unfavorably? Are you excessively concerned about the image you project online? Does social media use interfere with your sleep, work, or in-person relationships? Do you feel obligated to document experiences instead of simply living them? If you identified with some of these patterns, know that you are not alone. These are common challenges that millions of people face in this digital era. And more importantly, there are effective strategies to transform this relationship. Strategies for a more conscious relationship with social media. Cultivate awareness above all. The first step for any change is awareness. Try observing your digital habits without judgment, like a curious scientist studying an interesting phenomenon. Practice. For a few days, briefly note each time you access social media. What emotion led you to open the app? How did you feel afterward? Which content or interactions aroused stronger emotional reactions? This simple act of observation often reveals surprising patterns. Perhaps you notice that you tend to seek social media when you feel bored, anxious, or lonely, or that certain people or types of content consistently diminish your energy or self-esteem. Redesign your digital environment. Just as we organize our physical spaces to promote well-being, we can consciously design our digital environment. Practice. Do a cleanup of who you follow. Ask yourself, does this account add value to my life? Does it inspire me? Does it teach me something useful? Does it connect me with people I love? If the answer is no, consider unfollowing or temporarily muting. Disable non-essential notifications. Each ping is an interruption of the present moment, a small hijacking of your attention. You can decide to check social media on your own terms, not when the algorithms want your attention. Reorganize your phone to reduce temptations. Place social media apps in less accessible folders, not on the home screen. Some find benefit in completely deleting the apps, accessing only through the browser when they really want to. Establish conscious boundaries. Boundaries are expressions of self-care, not punitive restrictions. They help us use technology as a tool, not as a compulsive distraction. Practice. Set specific times to check social media, such as after lunch and after work, instead of responding to every impulse. Create technology-free zones in your life, perhaps during meals, the hour before bedtime, or on Sunday mornings. These screen-free spaces allow your mind to rest and process experiences without constant interruption. Use technological tools that help limit time on apps. Many smartphones now include digital well-being features that allow you to set time limits for specific apps. Cultivate discernment with comparisons. Comparisons are inevitable, but we can change how we relate to them. Practice. When you feel that pang of inadequacy while seeing someone's post, pause. Breathe. Remember, you are seeing a carefully selected moment, not this person's complete life with all its challenges and insecurities. Practice theory of mind, the ability to understand that other people have internal experiences different from yours. Behind that perfect vacation photo might be anxiety, insecurity, or even sadness that isn't shared publicly. Consider following accounts that promote transparency about the realities behind perfect images. Many creators now share the behind the scenes of their lives, humanizing the digital experience. Strengthen your identity beyond digital metrics. Our self-esteem becomes vulnerable when we base it on factors we cannot control, such as external approval. Practice. Reflect on your internal sources of value. What do you appreciate about yourself that doesn't depend on others' validation? What qualities, values, or contributions are meaningful to you, regardless of whether they are liked or publicly recognized? Cultivate activities that connect you to a sense of competence and internal value. It might be a hobby, volunteering, learning a new skill, or simply moments of genuine connection with people who appreciate you fully. Try periods without posting about significant experiences. Live some moments just for yourself, without the layer of documentation and sharing. How does it feel to experience something valuable without seeking external validation for it? Transform passive consumption into active engagement. There is a significant difference between passive content consumption, endless scrolling, and intentional engagement. Practice. Establish clear intentions before opening apps. Why are you accessing? To connect with someone specific? To seek information? To share something meaningful? This clarity helps avoid the habit of automatic scrolling. Consider the 1:3 rule. For every post you consume, meaningfully engage with at least 1/3 of them. Comment genuinely, share something that adds value, or send a private message to reconnect with someone. Use social media to support causes or communities that reflect your values. Transform online time into something that positively contributes to your sense of purpose and connection. Strengthen connections beyond screens. Social networks can complement, but not replace, the deep human need for in-person connection. Practice. Regularly schedule time for face-to-face interactions. Research shows that personal conversations activate neural circuits of empathy and connection that digital interactions rarely reach. When you're with others, practice full presence. Try leaving your phone in another room, or at least face down and silenced. Observe how the quality of connection changes. Rediscover the pleasure of non-mediated communication. A handwritten letter, a phone call without visual distractions, an unhurried conversation around a table. Integrating the digital and the real, a new vision. As we practice a more conscious relationship with social media, we begin to realize that it's not about choosing between the digital world and the real one. It's about integration, not separation. Technology, when used with intention, can tremendously enrich our lives, keeping us connected with distant loved ones, exposing us to new ideas, amplifying important voices, connecting us with communities of interest. The challenge and the opportunity lie in using these tools in service of our deepest values, not at their expense. Practices for difficult moments. There will be times when, despite our best intentions, we will feel negatively affected by the content we encounter online. In these occasions, these practices can help. Mindful pause. If you notice difficult feelings arising during social media use, comparison, inadequacy, anxiety, take a pause. Breathe deeply. Place a hand on your heart as a gesture of self-compassion. Reality check. Ask yourself, is this reaction based on a complete view of reality? What else might be happening that I'm not seeing? Redirection. Do something that reconnects you with your inherent value. Move, talk to someone who appreciates you. Engage in an activity that gives you a sense of competence or purpose. Self-compassion. Remember that feeling affected by social media is not a sign of weakness or failure. It's a normal human response to an environment we didn't evolve to navigate. Offer yourself the same kindness you would offer a friend, an invitation for the path ahead. As we conclude our exploration today, I'd like to leave you with an invitation, not a prescription. Each person has a unique relationship with technology, shaped by their circumstances, needs, and values. Your invitation is to experiment with small changes, observe their effects with curiosity, and gradually develop a relationship with social media that truly serves your mental health and nourishes your self-esteem, rather than diminishing it. Perhaps start with a small experiment this week, a day or even a few hours completely free of social media. Observe how you feel, what emerges in the space created, how your mind responds. Remember that the goal is not perfection, but rather a growing awareness that allows choices more aligned with your genuine well-being. Social media are powerful tools. Like any tool, their impact depends on how we use them. With awareness, intention, and healthy boundaries, we can enjoy their benefits while protecting our precious mental well-being. Take one more deep breath with me. Feel your feet on the ground, your body in this moment. This is the only moment that truly exists, not on a screen, not in a feed, but here and now. And it is in this present moment that our true life always happens. I am here, walking beside you on this journey of digital balance, self-knowledge, and genuine well-being.